of November 2022. Please rise if you're able and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And let's remain standing and join together for a brief moment of silence as we keep those in our military in our thoughts. It's only a couple days before Veterans Day, a special day where we honor those who serve us in that capacity. So we're blessed by many brave men and women who defend, protect our freedoms at home and abroad each day. So let's pause in their honor in a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, please be seated. Madam Clerk, would you kindly call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Martell.
Present.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scibone.
Present.
Okay, let's begin. First order of business, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of our regular town board meeting of October 25th.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approve. I also want to add a couple resolutions to the agenda. There are 6 in total. So this requires a supermajority vote to add these late changes to the agenda. 41660 is sponsored by Councilman Bouvier, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara. It amends the 2023 preliminary budget for land management fee schedule. 41098 appoints Skylar Virginia to Geographic Information Systems Technician 1 in GIS. 41671 authorizes the supervisor to sign a letter of commitment with the Community Development Corporation of Long Island in connection with the application for the +1 ADU program. 41672, which is sponsored by Councilman Bouvier and co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, amends the 2022 electrical fee schedule for the Department of Land Management, Building and Zoning Division. 41684 is our 21st warrant. And lastly, 41685, and I thought we were co-sponsor, everybody was co-sponsoring this, so we're probably going to add everybody on. This is a resolution authorizing withdrawal of the notice of appeal filed in connection with the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District. And so I'll make a motion to walk those 6 resolutions on.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scibone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that was unanimous, and they will be part of our agenda. So we'll take them up at the end. So we'll move on to communications. Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
The following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from town fire districts for their adopted 2023 budget filings to date from Bridgehampton, Eastport, Flanders, Hampton Bays, North Sea, Riverhead, and Southampton fire districts. The financial disclosure statement filing from the listed individual, and emails, letters, and land use applications regarding the following: blinking light at St. Andrews Road, Shinnecock Hills, CPF purchase of Marsden Street parcels, Sag Harbor, CPF preservation of Steinbeck House, Sag Harbor, Hampton Bays, downtown development listening sessions, proposed change of zone entitled Liberty Gardens, County Road 39, traffic pilot program, planning board application from 149 Old Country Road and 149 Jagger Path, and Spionk Remsenburg. Zoning board applications for 2 locations, 7 Percy Avenue, West Hampton, and 42 Cold Spring Road, Tuckahoe. Bid and request for proposals were received on October 27th, an RFP for purchase and redevelopment of 20 Shinnecock Road, Hampton Bays. Trustee on November 2nd for 2 Ford trucks for the trustee's office. And that concludes our communications for this meeting's agenda.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. We're going to move on to public hearings. We have 6 scheduled for this afternoon. The first 4 all will relate to budgetary matters in terms of approving the budget for the town and for special districts. So we're doing this as a hybrid meeting, so we're going to go to the audience first for comment, and then we'll go online for people who are watching remotely so that they can participate in this meeting as well. So Madam Clerk, would you read the first public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 1 on the 2023 preliminary budget.
Okay, and we do have our controller here if there's any particular questions. All right, is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard on the first hearing regarding the budget? Seeing, no, I do see one. Judge Wilson?
Yes, I had filled out some paperwork outside. I don't know if they.
Oh, I didn't see any yellow ones. I have only for public portion, but you wanted to speak at the hearing?
If I
Yes, you may, sure.
Okay, so I just want you to consider, along with our budget, that, we were closed down, well, we weren't closed down, but we were much quieter, let's put it that way, than usual over at the Justice Court. And therefore, we do have a backlog of cases that I have, along with others, have been trying to rectify. So I just ask you to consider, when we're considering all the things that we need in order to utilize the court and take up more days, if you will, servicing the public who has been waiting sometimes in excess of a year to have their traffic matters and other matters heard, that we make sure that we have enough money in the budget to provide for all of those services. And also you should keep in mind that during that time, the drug court was also sufficiently decreased and has now been more active, and that therefore they will probably be meeting more as well. Thank you so much.
Did you have a chance to review the budget? Did you find it?
I did have a chance to review it, and it seems like it would be appropriate right now, the funds that were allocated, but
Okay, so you didn't see a particular deficiency?
shall I be sitting more, which I have been speaking to you, I believe, and Councilman Martell about, then certainly making sure that all of everyone's concerns are alleviated, that we just want to make sure that there's enough funding there.
Okay.
For
Thank
what
you.
specifically in the court would the funding be used for, Judge?
Well, we do have stenographers, we do have interpreters, which I understand that the county reimburses us for those, and staffing.
So is it your desire to open up a second courtroom and have 2 judges going at the same time to
I have been
address
doing
the
that.
backlog that the court is currently facing?
Yeah, I don't know if you're not aware. I'm so sorry. If I didn't see you over there in the audience, it gets a little busy sometimes. But yes, I've been doing that.
And so you have been doing it, and the other judges? So I'm assuming that
I'm not
the
aware what
increase-
the other judges do all the time. So
Okay. Well, I'm assuming the increased amount of administration is to have more hearings going concurrently.
yes.
Right, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, any other comments related to public hearing number 1? All right, we'll go to our online audience. Charles, anybody, I mean, if you were watching from home or your office or other remote location and you want to be heard at this public hearing, you do need to click the raise hand icon, which is typically at the bottom of your screen, and then we'll be able to bring you in. Charles, is there anybody indicating they want to be heard on the budget hearing?
I have no hands.
Been worse.
I'm sorry?
Nothing, I'm sorry.
No hands.
Okay. So, we don't need to keep this open any longer. We have to close it, right? Because we have a statutory deadline in terms of approving the budget. All right, I will make a motion to close public hearing number 1.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Madam Clerk, would you read the second public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 2, to consider any increases proposed in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the town of Southampton special districts.
Okay. So, there are numerous special districts in the town of Southampton, and they each have budgetary allocations, and This is an opportunity to be heard if you have any questions or concerns about the special district budgets. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? No one here in Town Hall. Charles, is there anyone indicating they wish to be heard online?
I see no hands.
And this is where our ambulances are funded, and lighting districts, and park districts, and all those things. Okay, all right, there's no public comment. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, number 2.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Madam Clerk, the third public hearing notice, please.
Public hearing number 3 for 2023 fire protection contracts.
Okay, this is specific to fire districts.
Fire protection.
Fire protection, so we have Dave Point, and Quogue and Noyak are the 3. Okay, is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the fire protection district contracts?
Just for the public edification, we have 3 fire protection districts in the town of Southampton. These are areas of the town that are unincorporated portions that are not part of either a village or any of our instituted and created fire districts. So we have fire protection districts. The town board serves as the commissioners, and we contract with village fire departments for fire and ambulance service. And this is their budget.
Thank you. Okay, nobody in town hall. Charles, anybody online?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close public hearing number 3.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that hearing is closed. We'll move on to the 4th public hearing notice. Madam Clerk?
Public hearing number 4 for the proposed recipients of the 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program.
Okay, presenting will be Kara Back, our Director of Housing and Community Development.
Good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor and Town Board members. This is a continuation of the public hearing to hear recommendations for the use of the 2023 Community Development Block Grant Funds. HUD's Community Development Block Grant Program provides annual grants for the development and expansion of opportunities in low and moderate income communities. The town is requesting $220,000 from Suffolk County, who administers the program. Funding has been requested for numerous projects, including the construction of a new senior center in Bridgehampton, an inclusive fitness space, and a bus shelter. In addition, the town has also received applications for funding from various public service groups, including a recent application from the Retreat, in order to provide counseling to Southampton adults and children facing domestic and family violence. I have distributed a summary of the proposals to the board for your consideration, and I will meet with each one of you before I submit an authorizing resolution on November 22nd.
All right, any questions for Kara? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, we will go to the public on this 4th public hearing related to community development block grants. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? All right, seeing none. Charles, to our remote audience, is there anyone who wishes to be heard?
No, sir.
Okay, and this was this continuation of the hearing, so it's,
So I request that you close the hearing. and,
okay, so, all right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Okay, we'll move on to the 5th public hearing. Madam Clerk?
Public hearing number 5 to rebuild the Bridgehampton Senior Center at 585 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike, and authorized by local law the addition of 16 residential workforce units as per Town Code Section 330-8.
All right, thank you. And presenting will be Janice Shearer, our
Town
Land
Planning and
Management and Development Administrator.
Thank you.
Did I get it right?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. I'm just going to hand these out for you.
Thank you.
This is the same thing that you see on the boards here. It's just in printed format for you. Today is a consideration, we've discussed this in work session, and this is the public hearing that you requested for going forward. This site is at 585 Southampton, Sag Harbor Turnpike. It's the site of the current Senior Nutrition Center of Bridgehampton, adjacent to the Bridgehampton Child Care Center. And it is a 2.9 acre parcel, and it is zoned CR 40. The idea here is, you sort of see it in this corner, and you'll see it in the documents I gave you. This is in such need of repair that it's really worth it to just rebuild it. It's not worth it to try to upgrade it as it is today, this facility. So we did a feasibility analysis this past sort of spring, I guess, it's been a while, to see could you fit a new senior nutrition center and add some much needed workforce housing. So this concept shows something that would really fit in the character. You wouldn't really see, it wouldn't look any different from the street. It's very much a residential style building. And when you look at the site plan, it would go back and then have an extra sort of appendage or wing where we can add some rental units, about 16 total. So in doing so, you would have to create a sort of overlay on top, which you're familiar with this because you've done this in a couple of instances, like Spion Commons. The code provision is 330-8, where you can do that on your own motion. You can put an overlay on top, so you can increase. So this is a 1 acre zone. You'd be doing 16 small, workforce units in addition to the senior center. And the cost is about $10 million, but the rents will hopefully, and Kara is still here, talk about, sort of offsetting the debt service with the rent rolls for this.
What's the total number of units?
16.
16 units. And what's a typical rent range? These are going to be moderate income?
I think so. I mean, it's really low to mod, but you can determine that as you move forward. It could be a blend, yeah.
So typically like $1,200 a month, something in that range?
I think that they can go upwards to, do you want to address that, Kara? I'm sorry, I don't know the rent numbers.
We're just crunching some numbers here, so.
Yeah.
These are all going to be one bedroom units? Yeah, they're all one bedroom units, $1,900 a month.
Okay, 1,900
Yes.
times 16. So the rent roll is roughly 30,400 a month. And the debt service on this is approximately $10.5 million construction budget. And that includes
Yes.
the new senior center as well, right?
Correct.
I mean, we're going to borrow, interest rates have gone up a little bit, but the municipal rates are still pretty good, and we do 15 years. I believe it'll be half that, like maybe 15,000 a month. So
We discussed this in work session.
yeah, so it's
More than covered it, yeah.
What's interesting about this project, since we're providing the land, and even though we technically would be borrowing the money, the this would be more than self-sustaining. It actually potentially would bring in more revenue than the actual debt service on it, which could be used to promote affordable housing or other things. So, is any other questions? I have been approached by a number of different builders who are interested in competing to do the construction, some saying that they would do this at cost, without any profit. So it would be interesting. We might be able to keep the construction numbers down.
Right, we still would have to
Bid it.
bid it,
Of
but
course,
of
we'd have
course,
to bid
but
it,
then
but
they
if
would
people
be
bid
able
it
to.
without any profit margin.
That would be amazing. There's a lot of people have you know, would like to give back to their
They wanna give
community.
back.
And I understand that. And this is just another elevation type of thing where you can see the units are sort of split up. So it looks very much in residential character, but it's, you know, like a portion of the building is, you know, units that go on the first floor and units that go up.
So, and Janice, in terms of the sanitary treatment, is this IA or
Yes,
sewage?
absolutely. It would be a.
It's not a sewage treatment plant, it's an IA.
No, it would, we calculated on the amount of land and with sewage credits. We can do it just as an IA
At that level,
system.
at 16 units at the flow rates, it's actually cost effective for individual systems. And I don't know how that's.
We could just
how
do
that
one
works.
cluster
And do a
system for the whole
cluster
thing.
system, so
One
that would work.
clustered system, so, okay.
Janice, looking at your site plan, it seems like that the clearing on this parcel would be minimal compared to what currently exists, right?
That's
Most
right.
of that can
We
get,
would maintain the clearing limits as anyone else is required to, so it would be minimally, you know, you still have all this area that would be wooded.
okay, good.
And we're hoping to have some synergy with the childcare center, with maybe cross access or some way, some kind of synergist relationship where people can, you know, not have to go back out on the turnpike and back. If you're driving from one to the other, you could just,
Mhm.
you know, access both from the internal sites.
And the lot to the north is owned by the town as well.
Mostly all all of this is like protected, so you won't be seeing like a proliferation of anything like this in the
Right.
area. It's really the only spot.
In terms of the density, units per acre, do you know what we ended up with? It's 16 units, it's a 3-acre property?
Hold on, I have my calculator, I can tell you.
It's under, it's probably slightly under 6 units an acre.
Yes,
5 for R40.
43,560 times 2.9. I'm sorry. It's like 7, I mean, actually,
How many acres is the property?
it's 2.9.
Oh, 2.9. Just below 3.
Yeah,
So
so it's more than that, 16. But you have the
so
under
it's
330.
roughly 6 units an acre.
Yes, I mean, we can make it whatever number you feel
No, I
comfortable
wanna reduce
with.
the number of units.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen these at 12 units an acre in some cases, like Sandy Hollow. So this is closer to the 6 number.
Right.
Can I ask, in terms of who administers this, and I know that code provision, the 338, does require a not-for-profit involved. I guess, that's typically, I guess, if a private owner, but we are not-for-profit.
So it's saying the applicant, it has some things about the applicant, and it says, in pursuit of this, the town board may from time to time authorize an increase in residential development density where it shall be found that a bona fide nonprofit corporation guarantees to develop and maintain the resultant housing. So if you're saying as the town, we're the bona fide, if you're using our housing, community housing program?
Or are we gonna use a different entity,
I
like
think that would all go in the bidding documents.
housing authority? I mean, somebody's gonna have to collect the rent at the end of the day.
As long as you establish that, whoever you want to choose, so you have the choice of housing authority. We could do it through our own housing department. You can do Long Island Housing Partnership, CDC
Right.
Long Island, you all of those
Somebody has to check
entities.
income, make sure that the individuals continue to
Right.
qualify.
So as long as you guarantee one of those entities are doing that, I think you're good.
Okay.
And that would work with the senior center and the operation of the senior center, which
Well,
would
the
be the
operation of the
town.
senior center is a
of
facility
Southampton.
under the town, so we
Yeah.
would still maintain it as the same way we do with all our facilities. So that would be Tom Houghton, and he would manage that whole capital project. Him and Nick in his office would deal with that. And that's who
The
gave me
septic-
the take off this sort of current estimates that I handed out to you.
It
The
could-
septic,
okay.
the septic credits don't make any differentiation between this, the housing units, and the town-owned facility itself, if we're operating through a not-for-profit, right?
No,
county
they're
would
just
make
for,
no
to
distinction.
satisfy the gallons of flow.
Yeah.
That's all that
Now,
that's for.
speaking of sanitary, we could apply some CPF money, not a lot, but toward whatever the existing flow from the senior center is.
That's right.
So we could bring some potential grant money into this project that way. And as the board is aware, the Community Housing Fund also passed last night. Congratulations to all those who worked on that. So I think we'll start receiving money. I think the first collection will begin in April, so April, May, June. By mid-year, we'll start seeing some revenues from that program. I don't suspect any construction will be done here for probably another year to go through the process, so it's possible that we could bring some of that money and borrow less.
Sure, you
for
could do
this.
that. So this is really just today, like a public hearing, so it would be a local law to put you didn't want to go forward unless you heard some feedback on this whole idea, but I think it's a great idea. You'll be able to upgrade and have a really nice nutrition center. It's not really sustainable. I hear that many people from Bridgehampton go all the way to Hampton Bays to use that senior center, and here you can have a brand new one just as well. It would have a warming kitchen. It's not the same, but still they can,
It's like Rohan has a warming kitchen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
and then have some much needed workforce housing. So
It is the only senior center east of the canal
That's
that we
right.
have. I like the design. Was this your department that put
we
this
did.
together?
We worked with a architect to just do some, just sort of character studies to be able to show you,
Mm-hmm.
what it could look like. But this isn't by no means it's very much a draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth noting that the neighbor here is the Bridgehampton Child Care Center.
Mhm.
And they do have plans for the rear portion of that. That includes athletic-type facilities, a swimming pool.
A pool, a big gym they're planning to put in.
Yeah, so, and my understanding is that those things will be available to the public. So, to have housing here where you can walk next door and be able to work out or play basketball, whatever it is.
It's really
Oh,
nice. I
there's
also like the
something-
intergenerational aspect. So it's not just like, seniors and children. It's they like to see kids.
also a
and be
sidewalk.
around.
That connects
And
all the way down to downtown Bridgehampton. If you want to walk, it's not that far.
Yeah, and you're close to the South Fork History Museum. You're close to Simi. It's the deli.
So, yeah, let's keep going with any other board questions on this. Rick or Cindy?
Yeah, I just had a question on it's 600 square feet roughly for the apartment, one bedroom. Kara said 1,900. Is that still based on the AMI? Like, will some people qualify at a little less than that?
That's the current maximum rent allowed under the current AMI for moderate income.
Okay.
So, but before you go, just to follow up on that question, those rents can be adjusted downwards. If you have someone, a company that's willing to do this gratis, that also brings the total cost down because it's related to the cost of that building. So that could help drive down those rental costs.
Absolutely, sure.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, while you're still there, we're going to be considering something with the CDC, a contract with them.
Yes.
Would there be any involvement with them in something like this? Would these be considered ADUs in that sense or not?
No, okay, yeah, no, it's still, we can talk about it as we, go down the path here.
This is not ADUs. These are.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can certainly, talk about what kind of, units we want to put in there, if they want to be some low to moderate, middle income units, we can decide on.
So we have latitude.
We
That's
have
really the
latitude,
question. All
ADUs,
right, thank
sure.
you.
Yep.
This provision of the code is only for a low and moderate income. So we can't do 100% AMI like we or even 130%.
Right.
As we have in some of these other projects. We've done some blends. This provision of the code, though, is specific to low and moderate. Correct, Janice? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it doesn't prohibit us from negotiating downward. There's a
Correct.
limit we
No.
can't go over, but we can go
Right.
down. So
Sure.
That's
Yes.
really the point I'm trying to
Yep.
make.
Yeah.
So suffice to say, we will not be renting these out for the summer at 21,000.
Correct. It
Okay.
will all be full-time residents
All
living in
right, so
these.
let's, the purpose of this is, this is a public hearing, so we want to get to the public, but I think it's important that the board understands the project. This is our, it's the town's property. So we already own the land. We end up with a brand-new senior center. We end up with 16 affordable units, rental units, which I think are sorely needed. But let's go to the public and hear if anybody wants to comment on this. Is there anyone who wants to comment on the redevelopment of the Bridgehampton Senior Center property in this regard? Mr. Daly? Michael, you have 3 minutes for your comments. Please state your name for our records.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Michael Daly from Sag Harbor. I live in this area, and I think that this is terrific. I think it's a great example of the kind of scale and the things, the type of developments that we need to do throughout our township. It's not too big, it's not too small. I have a personal friend who lives in walking distance to this that goes to the Hampton Bays Senior Center. I have another friend who is a firefighter in Bridgehampton who now lives in Flanders. So when the bell goes off, he has to run like hell to get to the fires. So this will be well appreciated, and the design is beautiful. So thank you for that. This is about doing things that fit in with the character of our communities, dispersing them throughout the township. The more 16s we do, the less 104s we need, right? Or the less 50s we need. So I'd like to commend you on this. And it's a building that I pass by almost every day, and I'm like, gosh, too bad we couldn't do something better with that. This is better.
Before you sit down, first you scared me for a second when you said I live right near this, and I thought you were going to say it's the wrong location, but I should
Yes,
know
in my backyard.
This is a YIMBY. This is the founder of East End YIMBY. You got me nervous for a second, but no, it's nice to hear that as a neighbor of this property that you support its development, and that's consistent with everything.
I'm not a direct neighbor of it, but it's
nearby.
within my neighborhood, if
Yeah.
you will. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. I just wanted to, while you're up there, just thank you. I know you worked very hard on advocating for the referendum that passed. And,
Yes, thank
so
you.
I just wanted to say congratulations on that.
Well, and thank you, because I'll tell you, I learned a great deal about things like this during this campaign. And we're so pleased that the town of Southampton, the people recognize the need for housing and that supported this. And in Southold as well, and in East Hampton as well, and in Shelter Island. All the votes haven't been counted yet, but they're behind by 8 votes, and there's still votes coming in. We'd love to see all 4 win, but Southampton is my township, and I'm so proud to be part of a town that recognized this. And I'll tell you, the biggest lesson I learned during this campaign, that we learned, was that housing, infrastructure, that our community is a nonpartisan issue. This would not have passed without members of all parties voting for it. This wasn't a bleeding heart liberal issue. This was not a hardcore business issue. This was a combined issue, and everybody came together to support it. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us to know moving forward, because we're going to have a big job now in implementing these funds, right? And how is it going to be done? It needs to be done in a way that supports our infrastructure and that is
30 seconds.
Is nonpartisan. So thank you very much. Thanks for everything that you all did, and Kara in educating the public around it as well.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike.
Cheers.
Jen?
I had a second to do the math, and it's 5.3 units per acre, so it's about 5 units per acre. Just
Okay.
sorry for a
Thank
second. I couldn't do it up here under pressure. Thank you.
You were talking.
Okay. Anyone else from the public? Judge Wilson?
Actually, I'm just Barbara Wilson. I'm just here as a citizen on this matter. I think that this is a great idea. And last night, well, like most of you, probably waiting for the election results. That took a while to come in. I was flicking through the channel, so I got to watch your meeting on a proposed structure, and where there was also, was talking about units and the need for teachers and firemen and local people to have affordable housing. And I'm just wondering, so what is the criteria for people as far as that will be applying for this? What would that criteria be? Is it gonna be a lottery, or what would it be?
Okay, I'll let, you can sit and we'll try to answer the question.
Okay, thanks. And just like, I think it was mentioned too, that there's a school, childcare and everything. So of course, that's gonna eliminate certain members of the population who, because of any convictions, would be eliminated from that. And I'm sure that the attorneys would make sure that that was
Yeah.
dealt with
I
appropriately.
think I'll bring Kara up to address this, but because we're potentially not using any federal or state money on this project, we will have ultimate control that we don't normally have because of the lack of subsidies, which we can really, I don't want to say handpick, because it has to be a lottery of some sort, but we could set the criteria, right?
Yeah, you do have to follow federal fair housing standards. But we would look into, the possibility of doing a lottery, or, something along those lines. We have to just look at everything as a whole to just make sure that if we do have preferences, that we aren't violating federal fair housing
Right.
standards.
Suffice to say, with 16 units, we're going to get several hundred applicants. So those folks will have to qualify, and then they have to be drawn at random in some way, shape, or
Right.
form. But we haven't necessarily determined all of that at this time.
Right.
It'd be nice if we do some moderate income, not just the low income, like we talked about, because then you can get to the teachers and
Police officers.
nurses and things like that.
Right. So it's a low moderate standard. They combine them now, so it does have a much higher threshold as far as income level.
Okay.
And Bridgehampton, like all of our other fire districts and ambulance districts, could probably use a few more volunteers. Hopefully that would work out as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, is there anyone else?
You're welcome.
Anyone else from the public who wishes to be heard at this fourth public hearing? All right, seeing none, we'll go to our remote audience. Charles, is anybody online indicating that they wish to be heard at this public hearing? Oh, I'm sorry, this is the fifth public hearing, John is correcting me.
No hands.
No hands. Yeah, the fifth public hearing on the Bridgehampton Senior Center redevelopment plan. Thank you, John. Okay, I think we need to leave the record open here, because there may be some people who live near this who are just going to learn about it for the very first time. So I would,
We can post this on our website, these materials, so that, under current studies, and that way they're available.
I would say that we not only leave the written record open, but we adjourn the hearing for at least one more.
Sure.
For an evening meeting.
Yeah, what's the next,
22nd.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now? Is,
22nd.
November 22nd. Councilman McNamara is telling me, and that's a 6 PM meeting? All right, so I'll make a motion to adjourn this public hearing to November 22nd at 6 PM.
I will second that.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Thank you.
it is adjourned to the 22nd. Thank you.
See ya.
I don't know that you'll have to do the same level of presentation, just very,
We'll just
maybe.
have the same boards, available in case for
Yes.
anyone that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Dennis. Thanks, Karen.
Okay, we will move on to the sixth and final public hearing for this afternoon. Madam Clerk?
Public hearing number 6, to amend Article 6, parking time limited in designated locations, to strike an inconsistent regulation, Chapter 312-3218, which allows for parking on the east and west side of Canoe Place Road between its intersections with Fanning Avenue and Argonne Road, which is a no-stopping zone.
All right, is there anyone presenting on this? This is near Rumba, right, on
Yeah.
Councilwoman McNamara, do you want to explain it?
This is on because there was just, when the law was amended to make it no stopping, the provision that had no parking had not been removed. So currently it's no parking and no stopping, so we're simply removing the no parking restriction so that it is a no stopping. And there is a resolution of adoption on because it's literally just,
So right
Cleaning
now,
up
it's
our
a no
code.
stopping zone, but it's a parking zone?
it's a no stopping zone, but the no parking restriction was never removed from the code.
No stopping covers no parking.
Yeah,
Right.
Just so that the
Oh, yeah.
public knows.
so we're removing
It's
the no
very
parking.
difficult to
Don't
park
jump out
without
of it.
stopping.
Exactly.
If you figure out a way to do that, let me know.
Well, yeah.
Elon Musk has been
An
in
ongoing.
So we're really not, we're not changing anything, we're just removing the restriction that should have been removed when the no stopping.
It's just paragraph 18 of the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sort of redundant.
Yes. Right.
There's no stopping, there should be obviously no
No parking.
parking. If you're parked, then you've
So we're
stopped.
taking the loophole out.
Yes,
Theoretically.
I'm not even sure there is a loophole.
because people that were saying they were
Somebody
stopped,
will
they're
find
saying
one.
they were parked, they weren't you know, it's a whole,
They were parked, they weren't stopped?
yes,
Really?
yeah. The stopping, I don't know.
Highway was putting out signs, and they were confused too.
Yeah, so we
we thought
just
it'd be a
figured
good
we'd
time
just
to
clean this
straighten
up
this out,
and.
It's like parking
Well,
in a
the
no standing
residents will
zone.
be
Exactly.
Good luck explaining that to the judge, that I wasn't stopped or standing, I was parked. Come on.
have no standing, no stopping, no parking by your house, Jan.
Notice that? No standing.
That's the village.
It's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
That's very clear.
They have, by my house, you can park on the road, but further down,
Right, on Elm, you cannot stand, stop, or park.
right,
Very clear.
unless you're trick or treating.
Signs in Manhattan, you need like a law degree there.
So that's all it is, and there is a resolution of adoption on today's meeting.
All right, so let's go to our audience. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this minor amendment? All right, seeing none. Charles, anyone online?
No, sir.
All right, I will make we don't need to keep this one open.
No, we
So-
have to close it because we're adopting it
it's on.
today.
Yeah, so, you want to make the motion to close?
Yes, please.
All right, Councilwoman McNamara making a motion to close,
Second?
seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excuse me one moment. I'll be right back.
All right, so that gets us to the end of the public hearing, so next we're going to go to public portion. And I have two cards. Barbara, you're the first. Was there more or did you cover what you wanted to say?
I'm so sorry, pardon?
We're moving on to public portion, and you filled out a public portion card. Did you want to say more, or?
That's what I was given, yes.
Okay, so you don't need to speak in public portion?
I did speak, thank you.
Okay,
It's just a public hearing for the particular subject, that's.
I understand.
okay, all right. And then the other card I have for public portion is Grover Pagano. Grover, you're up. Grover, you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments known. Please identify yourself for the record. If you approach the 3 minutes, the clerk will let you know.
Okay. Thank you very much, and my name's Grover Pagano. Thank you for your time and allowing me to comment on the proposed development of the Marston properties. I spent a lot of time reviewing the CPF rules. I want to say I'm not an expert, I'm not an attorney, but when I look at the CPF rules, I see two general pillars. One is public hearing prior to the land acquisition to determine if the plan is the best alternative for protection of community character and the reasonableness of all the alternatives available to the town. And then like the other pillar is stewardship, so taking care of the precious land. So my comments are focused around those three areas. Number one is the plan itself. The school's plan, which they have on their website, is done by a single engineering firm that's known for artificial turf and states that they're going to install turf, bathrooms, concessions, and parking lots on the land purchased with CPF funding. Now, is this the best alternative for the protection of the community character of all the reasonable alternatives available to the town? And is this responsible stewardship of our public lands? I know the schools also said, well, now they're going to get community input, but if that's the case, then what was the information on the website prior to the vote last week? Number two is the school has repeatedly stated that they are buying 12 Marston outright for $700,000. Yet it's been widely reported that 12 Marston will not be sold to the school without the remaining 4 lots on the north side of Marston to be sold with CPF funding involved. And the school repeatedly states that 12 Marston will not be bound by any of the CPF restrictions. But we all know that 12 Marston is slated for a parking lot. To let that happen is not responsible stewardship of our public lands, and it's not the best alternative for the protection of the community character of all the reasonable alternatives. And then finally, number three, the school has stated several times that they want to be a good neighbor. Yet, I have a hard time believing this because I've asked them several times to discuss with us information about setback, screening, and noise abatement. And they tell me that they don't have to follow the rules of the town. In fact, a prominent architect has told me that the school can build a very large building right on the property line if they want to. And in fact, the renditioning I've seen of the proposed field looks like to me right out on the property line of Marston. And so I ask, is that the best use of all the available plans to protect the character of our community? And is that the best stewardship of the property? And I'm asking the town board to deny this application because the plan presented on the school's website is in no way the best alternative for the protection of the community character of all the reasonable alternatives available to the town, and because the school has no governing rules that would allow the stewardship of this land to be fulfilled either by the school or by the town. And they've told us that they don't have to abide by the rules of the town and the village. And maybe that's perfectly well for the school, but as a community, I think those rules are important. Those are my comments.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to be heard in the public portion? Okay, no one here at Town Hall, so we'll go to our remote audience. Is there anyone online who wishes to be heard at public portion? If you do desire to be heard, you need to click the raise hand icon.
I have no hands.
Okay, I will make a motion to close public portion.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. There are a number of you still here in the audience. Is there any particular resolution that you're waiting on? I could take something out of order so that you can get on to your other business. Is anybody waiting for a particular resolution? Liberty Gardens is not before us on the pack, is it?
No.
No.
There's no resolution related. What?
There's nothing about it today?
No.
No.
Nothing about Liberty Gardens today.
Okay, I don't know how we got that wrong. When's the next meeting about it then?
We don't know. We don't.
So Jim can maybe explain a little bit of the process. Have we closed the hearing now?
Yes, you close the hearing on the draft environmental impact statement. Now, the applicant and the planning department will go back, review the comments that were made, and then at some point, they'll create what they call a final environmental impact statement, incorporating the comments that were made and addressing the comments as best they can. And that'll be presented to the board at some later date. It'll probably, I would say, typically 6 weeks to 2 months for anybody to complete that work now. So next step will be a review of the final environmental impact statement, the FEIS is what it's typically called.
Is a hearing on that
No.
final, or no, just the vote by the board?
You have to accept it, and then typically what happens is you have the accept the FEIS, and then you have the, a period of time between that, and then you would adopt the finding statements, and then make a decision on the whole.
Is there a hearing on the finding statement?
No,
No,
it's not a
just the
hearing either.
board makes a
Yeah.
findings decision.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. But people can comment at
sure, yeah.
public portion.
Yep, they can comment on public portion, and they can certainly continue to write letters and whatnot.
But there's no,
What'd you say about letters?
Continue to write letters, you can, you know, you can obviously, we've been receiving emails and whatnot on.
but the record is closed
The record for the DEIS is
for the
closed.
DEIS.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, but on the FEIS, there'll be opportunities to comment as well,
Yep, yes.
before the, right,
And they'll still be considered, the comments?
sure. But it's on the final environmental impact.
Right.
And then, once we adopt the finding statement, right, then we have to have a vote on the project itself.
Yes, yes, you would, you accept the FEIS, and then there's usually about a 10-day, I believe the statute, 10 days between the acceptance of the FEIS and the adoption of the finding statement, a minimum of a 10-day waiting period. And usually when you make a decision on the finding statement, you're also deciding on the underlying changes on it at the same time.
So is there another public hearing on the final decision? No, it's
No.
all, that's it for public hearings.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No,
Okay,
we've
but-
completed
but-
the public hearing process.
But public portion, we could still consider letters
Sure. Yeah.
related to the adoption of the finding statement and the
Yep.
approval of the project. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Until when would you accept the letters, I heard?
No, we can still continue to accept letters, or you're certainly free to send in emails on, because once the FEIS is drafted, you'll have, and you can comment on whether that was appropriate, whether the FEIS appropriately adopted all the comments from the DEIS.
But we couldn't consider letters on the DEI, the draft anymore,
Right,
right?
Right.
Because the
Closed
hearing is
yesterday.
closed on that.
that's correct, yeah.
Right. But on the I know it's confusing, the secret
Yeah.
stuff is confusing.
It is,
but,
it can be confusing.
you know,
yeah.
if you have particular questions about the secret process, you know, give Jim a call, and he can help you with that, or Janice in
Yeah.
planning.
Janet,
All
sure.
right, so yeah, there's no resolution in our packet that relates to Liberty Gardens today. Is there any other resolution anybody's waiting for? There's no resolution related to Morrison either. That's not on our agenda, so, okay?
Jay, can we take that first walk-on out of order? Because it has to come before the adoption of the budget.
All right, Councilwoman McNamara is asking to take, which resolution out of order?
41660,
It's in the walk-on packet.
it's the first walk-on.
It's the first one on the walk-on.
It's the first one, the walk-on.
So and it would need to be done before we get to the budget
Adoption.
adoptions. All right, so there's a motion by Councilman McNamara to take 41660 out of order. Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we're gonna begin with that resolution, 41660. Councilman Bouvier, do you want to read it?
Sure. This is Town Board Resolution 41660, is to amend the 2023 preliminary budget for land management fee schedule and relates largely to expedited fees for expedited inspections and things like that.
Expedited electrical inspections.
Sandy, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Sir. Okay.
It's $1,000 for an expedited electrical inspection. What's the typical delay on an electrical inspection these days?
There's just people asking for Saturday inspections,
They
and
want to
we
use it
have
on the week, be able to do
people
inspections.
willing to
on the
do
weekend.
it, so this would bring in revenue and
So there's an overtime fee associated with that, that's part of that process. So if they want it, that's what it's gonna cost.
I know the fees are supposed to relate somewhat to the amount of time involved and the costs associated with it.
But on a weekend, it
These are
involves some
Saturday
overtime.
inspections.
There are Saturday inspections, but how long does a typical inspection take?
Depends on the application. It
I mean,
can
we
range
charge
anywhere from
$1,000
an hour to an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I know we charge $1,000 for an expedited review of building permit, but there's quite a bit involved in that. There's a lot involved in an electrical inspection too, but it's not even before us yet, so let's get the bill before us. You're making a motion to approve, John is making a.
In addition to that, there are several electrical inspections in the course of an application.
In course of an application.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a motion to approve, seconded by Councilman Bouvier. And so just on the motion, that's all I'm questioning is whether that's too much to charge, but I'm willing to support it, but I'd like to get some more information and maybe at some point, if it seems like an unreasonable fee for the amount of time, then maybe we would consider lowering it.
Sure.
It sounds like that certainly would cover the cost of the overtime that we'll have to pay for these inspectors to come in on the weekends. But
And it is, so that you understand.
It's a choice.
It's generated by, it is a choice, but it's also generated by a request for being able to do these inspections on weekends, to expedite them because of the backlog and overflow. So people are willing to do that. And typically, an electrical inspection can involve several visits, depending on the complexity of the inspection. So having gone through several myself, I think the maximum was 3.
Oh,
that I
Janice
had
is
to
here.
do.
So I
was just texting.
Here's Janice.
Believe me, I understand that.
Janice.
And, you know, some towns,
I
you
was just
know,
texting.
some towns have, you know, electrical underwriter certificates that, you know, private contractors
Janice
do.
can answer.
We don't accept that. We do it ourselves, and there's a backlog. Janice, I'm just questioning, not the expedited electrical permit. I think that that's great. And if the guys want to work on weekends, make a little bit extra money, I just always want to make sure that the fees are somewhat in line with the town's costs. And it struck me $1,000, we charge $1,000 for an expedited building permit. That's an awful lot of steps and things involved with a building permit. Electrical inspection is like one component of it. It just, I'm not sure how we arrived at the $1,000.
Sure. So we did a sort of calculation backing into the most senior person and what they make at time and a half on a Saturday. And I can tell you that's, you know, significant. So, and we're also trying to not necessarily make these guys work every Saturday. It's sort of a deterrent in some ways. It's for the extenuating circumstance, for the time when, you know, it's not just, hey, I'm going to give you another $1,000. You know, these people have lives and families. They don't want to work all weekend, every weekend. But when they do, they're willing to do this because of the amount of
No,
the
I definitely
volume.
understand that. And I also understand that construction's expensive and not everybody has unlimited, you know, financial resources.
Well, when you
And
look at it this way,
I don't
the-
want to create this class system where
No, but the
some
expediteds
Some
help
move through because
free-
they can, because they have lots of money, and other people have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks for an
No, the
electrical.
Monday through Friday is still open to anyone, and if you have people who have the means or have the emergencies to pay on a Saturday, that only makes the regular average people move up quicker.
Right, but in terms of calculating, that's my biggest concern, because
So
there
we-
are some
we-
legal requirements that Jim's aware of, that the cost that we charge is supposed to relate
Yeah.
to the
So when you
the
calculate the
actual
cost of their actual salary and the amount of, like, you know, the gas, the amount of time, you know, it works out, we make about like $200 on it, you know, as far as just extra costs associated with that. But if you want to make it less, then you can make it like 800, but I wouldn't go too much lower than that, or it's costing us money.
No, I don't want to lose money.
Yeah, we
Right.
would lose money if it was anything under.
You know.
Sounds like that's a sufficient buffer then, because
I
We
mean,
just made a buffer, and, you know, like I said, it's a little bit of a, it's not, you know, we're not embracing this
I just
entirely.
want a testimony that some thought went into determining this fee.
Absolutely.
Sure, it was not a dartboard.
Yeah, I
It
just
wasn't,
make
it
that-
wasn't that people want it and they're willing to pay for it. That's not enough
No,
to
because
justify the
people are
fee.
like, I'll pay you 10,000 just to get here.
Just, yeah, exactly.
And we're like, no, you know, so this is a reasonable amount based on the most senior inspector at a time and a half rate, the cost of gas and, you know, vehicle, you know, putting on the lights, they come in, They get their jobs, they come here to town hall, on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's not just the time
It's
spent
not just
at
the
the
time
place.
spent at the place, it's all those things factored
Now,
together.
can I ask, is this, like somebody will say put a pool in and they need an electrical inspection for a pool, and they're gonna check the circuit box, they're gonna check the connections at the pool. That's very different than somebody just built an 8,000 square foot house.
Right.
Right, where you're gonna spend hours and hours examining the wiring.
Well, that's a Saturday job, the latter, and the former is a Monday through Friday schedule. So the expedited is
But
only
it's
for
the same
these.
price, whether it's a minor electrical service
No, because
change?
most of those minor
Not at all.
people aren't asking for those kinds of expedited reviews. We just schedule them in Monday through Friday. We're still scheduling normal, they're maxed out from 6 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon. They're back to back.
Right.
This
And-
is just for expediting, a request to expedite a permit.
We're just
for
inundated with
electrical.
people asking to
That's all it
do
is.
extra
I understand that, Joe,
Saturdays,
but some
for these
electrical
big
inspections are minor
houses, et
and some are
cetera.
major. It's a one fee rather, see, like a regular building permit fee, depending upon the cost of the construction, will determine the cost of the building permit. It's not the same for a 1,000 square foot house as a 20,000 square foot house in terms of what you pay for a building permit fee. I'm just asking, is an electrical inspection fee the same whether it's minor or has lots of work associated with it?
It depends on the service that you're asking for, and they all have to ask. It's a little bit of a convoluted process, but there's a temp, a service. It depends on how much amperage or what your panel box is, what you're doing.
So there are
So
different
there's
fees?
Yes, they're on a sliding scale of fees.
Okay, all right.
But these expediteds, like on a Saturday, the average small guy isn't going to ask for the Saturday expedited. They're just going to, and it actually helps them because now we just moved an 8,000 square foot house to a Saturday, and now now they have all day to do the pools
But
and the regular ones.
Is now a fixed fee, the 1,000 covers everything, or is it the regular fee plus 1,000?
No, it covers everything. It's just an expedited. Well, no, it's an expedited fee on top of, just like we do in the building department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of,
On top of the $50 service fee that you pay or whatever for the temp. So, we can make it less if you feel uncomfortable, but I wouldn't make it too much less because there's a point where we lose money.
Yeah, and I think it was previously mentioned that sometimes you have to go more than once to the site. That happens frequently, right? They go to the pool and it fails for some quirky reason and they have to go back again, so.
Sure, and that's all the regular way we do everything still remains the same. So everybody's still in the queue, everybody's still paying their normal rate, and they're still getting Monday through Friday service. The extenuating circumstance ones, or the people who are really having an issue and they can't wait 2 weeks on the calendar, or because they've got this big house or whatever it is, they can apply as an expedited on a Saturday, and they can pay that fee.
It still strikes me as high, but, I like the idea of
good news is
expedited.
we free up the space for the average people on the Monday through
it speeds
Friday,
up
the
line.
regular
If
paying
people take
customer.
advantage of it. If they
Yeah.
don't, the line stays.
idea,
the same.
expediting is, I completely agree with. I think it's.
Well, we're
fine,
just being
fine.
inundated with the requests, so I thought I would bring it to you. They
No,
ask us almost every day.
All
It's,
right,
it
well-
sounds like it's pretty close to reflecting the actual
You're-
cost.
you're
so-
saying
It's very close.
It's close to the actual cost.
Well, first I thought, we'll just do a $500 flat fee, but then when we actually said, well, how much does this cost us? It actually wasn't enough to cover it.
Yeah, 500 isn't enough.
So, and
it's
it's
a
the
week-
same
because
exact
it's an
as we do with the
overtime
building fee, so I
exercise.
thought at least it's, even.
Janice, these expedited inspections would only happen on a Saturday? Is that
Correct.
what okay. So this is a way
Most
to
people don't want
actually,
an electrical
Right.
inspection on a Sunday. They're mostly willing to have them on Saturdays.
so this would actually free up our inspectors during the week, like you said earlier, in a couple of times.
Yes, which is
to
great, because
inspect
then the big
others,
houses
helping
they
our
can spend their
backlog.
time on a Saturday doing that, be
Uh-huh.
paid for that time, and now, in lieu of the 5 hours it would take to do that, they now have 5 hours for the regular inspections Monday through
And
Friday.
it's a method to fund increased inspections to address our backlog.
Yeah, there's a significant backlog right now.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Don't know yet.
I'll stick around.
So in terms of the budget then, should we approve this a moment from now, we'll have to make sure we account for the proper overtime and the proper revenue in the budget. Is that Is there a resolution that's amending the budget?
Yes.
There's this one and then there's
actually
one for next
right now,
year.
so we could do it before the holidays. Otherwise, I don't have a fee schedule that allows it, right? So
No,
one
this
is
does-
now,
This does both in the same resolution.
Oh, okay,
Amends the
good.
budget and it establishes.
and then for 23.
And one
Yeah.
other question, does this conform with our collective bargaining agreement with our union?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
They're all equally the same title, and they're all offered the overtime equally.
So this
It's right
directs
here.
the controller to make the changes
In the,
in both
Good
sides of
question.
it.
yes.
Okay. All right. I'm talked out on it. A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Sorry, and the
Approved.
motion was Councilman Bouvier or?
No, actually, it could have been,
It doesn't matter.
the
Doesn't
first
matter.
motion to take it out of order was
I got that
Councilman
one, I
Bouvier,
need the one to.
and then Councilman McNamara, and the approval was McNamara, seconded by Bouvier.
Okay,
Whichever way you want.
thank you.
Pull at it.
Councilman, councilwoman.
All right. Either way, the end result is that was unanimously approved. All right, so
Stuff like
now,
that backwards.
now we go to the top. And I think it's,
Oh.
let's see. First resolution is
Town Board
resolution-
resol,
It's mine, right?
we good to go? Oh, yes, I'm
It's-
sorry. I
So
was looking
first
at it.
resolution is 1084 of 2022. It's a 2022 standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials. This had been previously tabled, and I actually do need to make a motion to amend this as well, because it did not include trustee Bill Parrish, William Parrish, who would be a standard workday is 6 hours, and the term begins 1/1/22 through 12/31/23. In the participates in employer's timekeeping system, that would be an N for no, and in the last column, days of the month is 5.66. The clerk, do you have those changes?
I certainly do.
You do, all right, so let me make a motion first to amend with those changes,
Second?
seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and now, I'll make the motion to approve as amended. Let's get a second on that.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. So there had been another issue that caused us to table it. We wanted to make sure things were accurate. I did check with Human Resources Director Sandra Cercioni. I did review the attestations, the time sheets that were filled and sworn to, and everything is in accordance with those. It's really not up to the town board to second guess how many hours individuals work. They have to fill out these forms and make those statements. And so I'm going to make a motion to approve, as I already did, approve it as amended, because the numbers do match what was submitted. All right? And
Right, so I seconded.
all right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Doesn't change it.
Approved.
No.
You know, individuals have to take personal responsibility for
Well,
that.
I think they're all salaried or stipend, so
Yes,
ultimately it
we got
doesn't
6
affect
days a month.
that in any way.
Working 28 days.
All right, so Tommy John, you are next.
Town Board Resolution 1096 of 2022. This is to accept the FM Global Grant for purchase of equipment for the Division of Fire Prevention.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1097 of 22 appoints EPIC, Epic Insurance Brokers and Consultants, as insurance broker for the town.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiaffoni, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1098 of 2022 to authorize agreement for email security component installation with CCSI.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1099 of 2022, authorize supervisor to sign contract extension for repair and install sidewalks with Long Island Mason and concrete.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1100 of 2022, authorize supervisor to sign any and all documents for submission of request for qualification package to Suffolk County for the Senior Citizen Nutrition Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1101 of 22, authorize supervisor to sign contract extension with G&M Dej Inc. for vehicle fuel management system maintenance and installation.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1102 for 2022, authorize supervisor to sign an IMA between the Town of Southampton, Department of Public Works, and the County of Suffolk to utilize town fuel pumps.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 1103 of 22, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with First Coastal Corporation as it relates to professional services for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point FIM project.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. On the motion, you guys had asked me a question I don't know that I got the answer for. Was there a question on whether there had to be a waiver related to this? Because the
was for First
contractor
Coastal.
does,
Over 25,000. He does other work in the town.
Oh, for the, on the chapter 23.
Yeah, regarding First Coastal.
Yeah.
all I'm gonna say is, if we can approve it, it just authorizes me to execute it. I could hold
Sure.
off on executing it until I've had a determination by the town attorney.
That would be helpful, yeah. We can ask to submit the waiver.
If it needs a waiver,
Yeah, right.
if the town attorney determines it needs a waiver,
Right,
then I won't sign it until we have passed the waiver.
that's perfect.
Is that fair?
Sounds good.
And then we
That's
can
fair,
get it
because
off
we'd
of
like
our
to continue.
agenda. It's not like we don't want First Coastal involved
Yeah.
in FIM.
Yep.
We just want to make sure we're doing everything by the book. But,
Yeah.
Aram is somebody who we all turn to for his expertise in coastal management.
Yeah, I just
And,
had a FIM call from 1 o'clock to 1:30 today, and he's on, he's prominently on the call today, so yeah.
It's very specialized type of service, so if we didn't use Aram, I'm not sure, who else is out there, but, all right, so I made a motion to approve. There was a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We want the
Approved.
sand.
I'm sorry?
We want the sand.
We want the sand, and this, hopefully, all his costs will be reimbursed
Right.
by the project as well.
1104 of 2022, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with LK McLean Associates PC as it relates to services for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point FIM project. And I don't know that they do work for private clients.
I'm not
They
aware.
do a lot of work
No.
for the town.
I think their focus is primarily, if not
On
entirely,
municipal.
on municipal clients.
Yeah,
I don't,
Well, it's also a lot of highway work.
right,
so-
but it's all municipal work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they have any private clients, and specifically, I'm dealing with.
But we should, in all due diligence, we should check that.
Sure, I can check, and specifically the person, obviously, we're dealing with here is Gilbert Anderson, who, was the former Commissioner of Public Works for the county, and I believe he doesn't do any other work in the town, but I will verify
Right, but
that.
the firm itself, so.
Yeah,
All right,
sure.
so was there a second on this?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. And again, I could wait on signing it until
Yeah.
Jim has directed me to do so. All right, 1105 of 22, authorize supervisor to execute a contract with Leonard J. Marchese, CPA, as it relates to professional services for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point project.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1106 of 2022, to authorize the supervisor to execute a second amendment to consulting agreement with Peak Power Long Island to assist in developing education and outreach sustainability and waste management programs.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1107, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Young and Young for a survey for property located at 1040 Flanders Road.
Second?
Second by Councilman Scavone. Is that the, is that
That's the
Seven
CPF
Z's?
project. No, it's,
No, it's
seven,
the other.
no, Seven Seas is, I believe, 1170. It's
Methodist.
on the other side of the marina.
No.
It's
No,
the old
sorry.
Methodist Point property.
It's Methodist
Right.
Point, so
The red and white house?
Yes, the red, right now, the red one. We actually,
We've already voted to purchase this. What is this?
It needs a meets and bounds.
yeah.
Oh, it's related to the title,
Yep.
to the insuring title.
There's a
Yeah.
number of structures on the property. We're also going to be preserving this property as well.
This is just authorizing
Proper
the
survey.
expenditure of the survey, but, you know.
And this is obviously all should be CPF paid for.
Yep.
Yes.
It's all CPF, yeah. We've actually received the survey.
We're
We're hoping to close that pretty soon. Yeah.
First review.
Okay, was there a motion and a second?
Yes.
Who was the second?
Councilman Scivone.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1108 of 2022 is authorized the supervisor to execute parks and recreation agreements for programs.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, 1109 of 2022 is co-sponsored by Councilman Bouvier, Councilman Martell, Councilman Spiavone.
I feel like I should be added to this.
Yeah, I don't know why they're
Join the
all on this, but this is,
You may as well add me, Sunday, please.
authorize the supervisor to sign a license agreement with Audio
Otherwise, it
Enterprise Group.
add me to it.
Second.
I guess because it crosses over into
We're all-
different
We're all on the
liaison,
video, so we're all affected.
so I think we go through the liaison assignments. All right, so there was a second by Councilman Bouvier, is that correct?
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 1110 of 22, authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Briscoe Protective LLC for 1976 North Sea Road, Townships Point Marina.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1111 to authorize of 2022 to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Michael Haberman Associates Incorporated for small claims validation for processing services.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1112 of 2022 is to authorize the supervisor to sign contract extension for public bathroom cleaning with Winston George DBA Winston Cleaning.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1113 of 2022, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, is to authorize the supervisor to sign extensions or extension with Dry Stick Decal Corp. DBA Ryden and Concept Print.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1114 of 22, authorize the town controller to purchase the necessary property casualty auto liability insurance policies.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1115 of 22, authorize the town controller to purchase the necessary workers' compensation insurance from New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1116 of 22, declare item surplus and authorize disposal of vehicles.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1117 of 2022, authorize supervisor to sign catering contract for a holiday party.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
And I'm going.
Town Board Resolution 1118 of 2022 is to authorize funding for the town clerk's 2022 capital project TC 22.1, preservation and restoration of the entire historic highway subdivision land use map collection H601.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
And I
approved.
just want to say that thank you very, very much. The project is completed and will be delivered personally by the company within the next couple of weeks. So
Great.
very
Awesome.
exciting. Once it's here, you should all come down and take a look at it. It's very interesting.
It's been a long haul. I'm glad
It
it's-
has, and thank
yeah.
you for your support, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for progressing it. All right, 1119 of 2022 amends the 2022 budget for various departments.
Second.
seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1120 of 2022 amends the 2023 preliminary budget for employee compensation and benefits schedule.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1121 of 22 amends the 2023 preliminary budget for land management fee schedule.
Second.
This is a minor change, right, Janice? This is the, instead of, it's 300 per parcel rather than 300 per road. Okay. All right, there was a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1122 of 2022, amend 2023 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for Board of Trustees legislative aid.
Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. So this increases one salary by $3,000 over what it's scheduled in the preliminary budget.
And this is an increase in base salary?
It is.
Okay.
So the adjustment in the budget also includes the adjustment to benefits related to that.
By definition.
So the actual cost is about $3,602.
And HR agreed with the increase was,
All right, this was an increase that was
Warranted.
requested by the trustees.
yes.
That I did include an increase in the proposed budget, not as much as they had
wanted.
wanted.
And I
So-
spoke with HR and they did agree that this was a warranted increase.
Right. Okay, so there was a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1123, authorize the 2023 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for the Deputy Superintendent of Highway.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. So this also adjusts an individual salary, the deputy highway superintendent. I did include actually an increase for this position as well, based on the request of the highway superintendent, but not as much as he had wanted. And this would go an additional $1,200 plus associated costs.
Same question? This
No,
is on the
it's
base
only-
salary, right?
Yes, so the
Okay.
total related increase is $1,441 after you factor in other costs associated with increasing it. So it affects potentially longevity, it affects, though I don't think this individual gets longevity, but pension contributions and things like that. So, all right, so, again, I'm sure, Rick, you discussed this with the highway superintendent and felt that this additional amount was in line with.
Yeah, he's not the
the work.
ordinary deputy. He's been out there doing the cones and working overtime and doing, all the good things that needed to be done to bring the highway back into line to where it should be. It's been, some of the projects have been left by the wayside the last few years, so this is bringing everything back up to par, things that we really need for the community. So he's done a great job. And it is just bringing it to par with some of the other deputy superintendents.
Okay. I'll call the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1124 of 2022, co-sponsored with Councilman Martellus to amend the 2023 preliminary capital budget for Red Creek Park.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell. So this adds $1 million in potential bonding to Red Creek Park, the athletic facility. I know some of the things that you were looking at are improvements to existing facilities with the skate park and the.
Yeah, so this was requested by Parks Director Kristen Doulos, and she had it in the original budget. Some of the infrastructure in Red Creek Park is deteriorating, needs to be brought up to par. The skate park probably will be condemned this year if we don't work on it very shortly. The tennis courts, the pickleball courts are being installed, some of the basketball courts. Those were all done years ago, and the way you build these courts now, the old way deteriorated so bad compared to what they're doing now. So they're basically bringing them up to par and reconditioning everything.
So this should increase the longevity of that particular facility, that installation.
Correct.
And by listing in the capital budget, should we see,
Bless you.
should we see surpluses come in above our anticipated surpluses? Our debt service, debt reduction policy, some of that money could potentially be used for this project, because it will have been listed on our contemplated borrowings.
Yes.
So, all right, I'm gonna support this, not just because it includes pickleball,
I said that louder
but
than
it
anything
does,
else.
it does, you know, it's hard to keep up with the demand for pickleball courts, but,
We may not have enough.
the ones we've built here at North Sea are sort of the envy of everyone else in the town, and a lot of the people who are playing are from west of the canal. They're coming out to North Sea. So if for no other reason, it takes some of the pressure off of that facility. We gotta build some more courts to the west, so.
Sounds like it'll help with traffic, too.
Yeah, it could actually help with some traffic in the morning.
It will add 6 pickleball courts. So
Is
that
it 6 or
should- yeah,
5?
I think it's 6.
Okay, you might wanna check that. I thought it was
Okay.
5. but-
Just for the record, pickleball has been mentioned 7 times.
All right. So we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1125 of 2022, amend the 2023 preliminary capital budget for townwide drainage.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. That's just $100,000 additional to, I guess Superintendent McCardle wants to do a little bit more in terms of addressing flooding.
Yeah, he has 3 main projects that he's working on, and he needs that for all 3 otherwise.
That increases it to a total of 350, correct?
Yeah. All right, so 1126 of 22 it amends the 2023 preliminary capital budget for estimated roll-forward amounts.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Okay. And we already took out of order, we took 41660, which we needed to take before we get to this, these next resolutions. So the next one is 1127 of 2022. It authorizes increases in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the town of Southampton special districts. We've closed the hearing on that. This is for lots of different districts, our ambulance districts, our erosion control districts, utility, fire, parks, parking, road improvements, lighting, water districts, Hampton Bays Water District, Flanders Water District, Riverside Water Districts. So really important that all these special districts are properly funded, and we haven't gotten any public comment on it. There are some larger increases in some of the ambulance districts. It's just important to understand that it's getting more and more complicated to deliver the response times, because the ambulances are finding that they have to hire more people because they don't have as many volunteers, because I think it's directly related to the affordable housing situation. And so that is pushing up some of the costs of delivering these services. So I reviewed everything with the controller, and we did what we thought the minimum necessary was for these districts. All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. $1128 of 22 adopts the 2023 through 2027 capital program and the 2023 capital budget.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. So that, the program is a longer look, go all the way through 2027, but 2023 is the sort of the year ahead in making sure that we have the projects listed that we intend to borrow for.
And then 1129.
All right, so we have so there's a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1129 of 22 adopts the 2023 final operating budget.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Before we vote on this, I want to thank everybody for their hard work, particularly Dorothy, our new controller. I think she did a fabulous job, phenomenal job. This is her first budget, and her staff, Kathleen and others. You know, doing the budget for the town, it's a complicated matter. There's just a lot of departments, a lot of functions, and a lot of requests, a lot of asks. And we obviously, you know, some we try to meet, and some, you know, is beyond our means, but we have to make these decisions. And I think it's a really good budget. I think it continues the services that our residents are used to. It protects public safety functions, police, code enforcement. It maintains our parks and our senior programs and town trustees and all the things that the town of Southampton provides. And it does so in a year where inflation has been running like 8%, and last year inflation was high. It accounts for all of the raises that we've provided to our workforce to deal with the higher cost of living, but it does it all without piercing the cap, the New York State cap. That was a real challenge. We got very close. Not a lot of wiggle room left, but that wasn't easy this year. So I just want to thank all of you for your work and your, you know, fiscal restraint. It's sometimes not easy making these decisions, but working together, I think we've delivered a really good budget for next year. So I've seen some other areas where tax rates going up, or budgets are going up, caps are being pierced, but not here in the town of Southampton. Very small increase in the tax rate, minor, and a very small increase in the overall spending. I think it's a really good budget. And with that, any discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Okay, 11/30 of 2022, authorize additional funds for Circleman, Balin, Adler, and Hyman LLP to represent and defend the town as it relates to Rose Hill Road in Watermill, New York. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
It took a second.
I was waiting for Watermill.
Oh, I was waiting for a trustee.
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess. All right.
It's in an amount not to exceed $7,500.
Yeah, 7,500. This case has been moving rather slow, but I guess it's still out there.
Yeah.
This is that old issue with the
Brett Adler?
trustee property there on Rose Hill Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as it relates to a license agreement with a neighbor.
Yeah.
All right. There's motion second. All in favor?
And land use of trustee property, and we're getting sued somehow.
Yes.
Right.
So the motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. All right, 11/31 of 22, authorize additional funds for David Arnston Esquire, other law offices of Vols and Vigliata, P. LLC, for all matters involving sand mines in the town of Southampton for 2022.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1132 of 2022, resolution of adoption amending Article 6 parking time limited in designated locations to strike an inconsistent regulation, Chapter 312-3218, which allows for parking on the east and west side of Canoe Place Road between its intersections with Banning Avenue and Argonne Road, which is a no stopping zone.
So on the motion, I just wanted to clarify one thing.
Just
That,
hold on, seconded by Councilman Martell on the motion, Councilman Bouvier.
what was struck out was also that there was no parking between 5 and 6 a.m. daily. I think it's in section, where is it?
So,
Section 18.
page 42, paragraph 18, yeah.
Yeah. Just because we had a discussion about parking and when and all of that, so this is being struck out. I just wanted
Right, because
public
that
to make-
created.
Now it's no stopping all the time.
all the time, right?
Right, because that created some additional confusion.
Right.
As if you could park other than
Other than that,
those
yeah.
hours. Okay, thank you for that additional information. All right, so there's motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1133 of 2022 to authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Hampton Bays Fire Department Turkey Trot 5K on November 24th, 2022, from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, who's also co-sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1134 of 22, co-sponsored by Councilman Bouvier, authorize funding for rebates for IA, which is Innovative Alternative Septic Systems for 2022 Community Preservation Fund water quality monies, and amends the 2022 through 26 capital budget.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
The program's been so successful, we needed to move
Needed to
some
move
money around.
over, yeah.
Yeah.
And we expect it to be more successful because we're amending some of the availability.
Yes,
where you can
yeah, I
actually
think that's an important amendment.
Use them on a voluntary basis and have changed the income levels,
Yeah.
the income requirements. We've got rid of it.
We haven't done that yet, though, right?
No, we're on our way.
Okay. 1135 of 22. I called the vote on the last one, right? Sunday?
Yes.
1134, we voted. All right, 1135 of 22, recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2022-203 to authorize the acquisition of lands of the Susan E. Shimeda Credit Shelter Trust, Riverside, for water quality improvement purposes.
Second.
Seconded, what's the change on this?
It's a 1.7 million, not to exceed 1.7
Funding
million.
There was
source is the
some-
change, yeah.
And there was a change, there was a, yeah, thank
The
you.
water quality category, but the costs are the same, or the,
The cost is the same, but it was not
Oh, they-
shown to be funded from the correct source.
they used the wrong GL code,
Yes.
right? It wasn't the water quality source.
Right.
Okay. All right, so did you second it? Yes.
I did.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
The next resolution I'm going to ask to table until November 22nd, so I'm presenting at the work session tomorrow on this.
All right, so 1136 of 2022, resolution implementing a Hometown Heroes banner program in the town of Southampton in conjunction with the West Hampton VFW Post 5350. Councilman McNamara is making a motion to table to the next meeting.
The 22nd.
The
Yep.
22nd, all right, seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so it's tabled. 1137 of 2022, part-time salaries, 2022 part-time salaries.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1138 of 22, accepts resignation of Matthew DeRosie, automotive equipment operator in highway.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1139 of 22, accepts retirement of Donna Bullock, court clerk in Justice Court.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved, and thank you, Donna, for your service with the town, and we wish you the best in your retirement. 1140 of 22, authorize town bay constable personnel to attend large four-stroke engine training.
Second.
Seconded, this is out in New Hampshire, seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All right, 1141 of 22, authorize town bay constable personnel to attend small gauge DTS training.
Same second.
Same place, out in New Hampshire. Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1142 of 2022, amend Town Board Resolution 2020-1043 to authorize the Director of Housing and Community Development to attend the Youth and Government Conference.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman Martell, Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1143 of 2022 is notice of public hearing to amend Chapter 123 Building Construction and Chapter 330 Zoning to add sections pertaining to the regulation of solar energy systems in the town of Southampton.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. That
Thank you,
hearing-
Janice.
Thank you. That hearing will take place here, and it'll be hybrid as well. And what's the date on it?
It's
December 13th.
13th.
December
Thank you,
13th?
Yes.
1 p.m.
And Janice just left. I don't know if anybody had any questions about it, but it's December 13th, 2022. Okay, so we're moving on to the additional resolutions, the add-ons, walk-ons. We did the first one, so we're up to 41098, appoint Skylar Virginia to Geographic Information System Technician 1 in GIS.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 41671, co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier and Councilman Schiavone, authorizes the supervisor to sign a letter of commitment with the Community Development Corporation of Long Island in connection with the application for a +1 ADU program.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier. Just on this, so the state is offering, I think, up to like $2 million to a municipality to help create accessory dwelling units, working with a not-for-profit. This is selecting Community Development Corporation of Long Island as the not-for-profit to assist, that we would partner with them on the grant application. If successful, they would then administer this program for us. And, all right, I haven't called the vote, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 41672, I don't know who's sponsoring what, but co-sponsored on this one with Councilwoman McNamara. Amend 2022 electrical fee schedule for the Department of Land Management Building and Zoning Division.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman. It's good, well, Councilwoman McNamara, sorry about that. On the motion, I just would ask, like, if it turns out that these things are going faster than we've predicted and the costs are less to the town, that we revisit the fee, because it sounds like it was well thought through, but if it turns out that it's not taking as much time as they thought, then I would say that maybe we want to try to revisit it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. And the last one, 41685.
No, we're
No,
on
we
have
24.
You get
Two
one.
to
You have the
go.
warrant.
Two more.
Only
Oh, I
two.
skipped one. I'm sorry, thank you.
Important one.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
We
that
all
gets
get paid.
everybody paid. All right, so not at the last.
Good
one.
try, though.
All right, 41684 is warrant number 21
Second.
Capital number 21, CPF number 21, and payroll liability.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Okay, now the last one.
Drum roll.
41685, co-sponsored, let me get this right, by Councilwoman McNamara, authorizes withdrawal of the notice of appeal filed in connection with the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. Just on the motions,
Yeah, I would like to co-sponsor that.
right, and yeah, everybody's gonna co-sponsor this,
Yeah.
correct?
Got it.
So, let me just say a word or two, I'm not gonna go on at length on this. You know, we had put zoning in place for downtown Hampton Bays. The town worked really hard to come up with what we thought would revitalize downtown, would lead to investments that would improve the community based on community input. We were challenged on that zoning, and the judge kicked it back and wanted us to review certain things before reapproving it, which we have been going through that process. And in that process, we've been learning that the community had concerns about density and sewers and some of the other issues that I think, you know, in an effort to really start fresh and work with the community and address all these issues, it sounds like the final product that we're aiming at now is different than the product we first approved. What we first approved was highly walkable and, you know, have broke downtown into all kinds of quadrants, but that led to a lot of crosswalks and slowing of traffic and the need for a bypass road, which we found that the community did not embrace. Being kind, they did not like that bypass road, and it became untenable. There were other issues with the original approval that, you know, time has shown to be problematic. So I think at this juncture, and in an effort to restore community confidence in our town planning process, I think it is prudent to not try to reverse the judge's determination, but actually, you know, follow those recommendations and continue this process. And as you know, I've been heavily engaged in going into the community and holding listening sessions, which you guys have attended on occasion, and we're now doing a survey that's going to go out soon, where I'm starting tomorrow with these focus groups that are, you know, 10 in number for an hour, where we can have conversations about downtown. And I do feel like things are going in a positive direction. There's a lot of engagement. There's a lot of great ideas. And I feel like we're heading in a direction that is not quite the same as what we had approved originally. So I think the time has come to not waste any additional time and money trying to reverse that decision through the appellate division, but working with the community in putting a new plan in place. But I'll turn it over to you guys if you want to say anything on this as well.
I just want to say that, you know, this wipes the whole slate clean now. Now it's time to really take the input of the public like you've been doing and we've been doing, and really see if we need to put a plan in place for, you know, a little improvement in downtown. I hate to keep calling it revitalization because it brings back the old plan, but, you know, to have improvements downtown and what the people want those improvements to be. So I think this is a huge step. I'm glad that everybody supported this.
Anyone else? All right. Call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? Okay, it's unanimous. And everybody is co-sponsoring that resolution. Okay, so I think hopefully that will close that chapter, and we're going to move on as a community and figure out exactly what the correct vision for the future of the downtown Hampton Bays area should be. All right, I have no other resolutions. Is there any other business? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.